deep in the Bavarian countryside in 1922. A family of six was brutally murdered on their isolated farm. Six family members. No suspect was ever caught, and chilling details of the crime scene, along with reports of eerie events leading up to the murders, have left investigators and paranormal enthusiasts puzzled for over a century. Welcome to Freak on a Sponge podcast, where we're going to dive into the Hinterkaifeck murders. This is episode number 2. So to understand the gravity of the Hinterkaifeck murders, we need to first set the scene. Year is 1922. Germany is reeling from the aftermath of World War I. Economic instability and social unrest plague the country, especially in rural areas like Bavarian. The Gruber family, consisting of Andreas, his wife, Cecilia, their widowed daughter Victoria, and her two young children, Cecilia Jr. and Joseph, lived on this isolated farm called Hinterkaifeck. The farm was surrounded by dense woods miles from the nearest village. Life here was very quiet, but it was also very lonely. Andreas was known as a very harsh and abusive man. There were rumors of incest between Andreas and Victoria as they swirled through the community. The Stark family's history would later become a piece of the mystery. 6 months before the murders, strange occurrences began on the farm. Andreas reported hearing footsteps in the attic, yet no one could find an intruder. Keys to the house went missing, and mysterious footprints were discovered. Could you imagine? Like, I think we've all been there where we've lost our keys, but we haven't, we didn't, I don't think we've ever found it suspicious. We just kind of lost our keys and was like, dang it, I know I put them here, but where are they? We've always dismissed it, and just like the Grubbers, they dismissed the keys. They dismissed the snow leading to the farm, but none leading away. Could you imagine seeing footprints coming to your house, but you don't see them going anywhere? Like going away from your house, you see them coming? Like, if I saw that, I think I would maybe investigate a little bit. That might be the mentality that I have based on my history as a police officer. I might have maybe investigate that a little bit. I am a paranoid individual when it comes to things sometimes. But the Grubbers dismissed everything. They didn't dismissed all the coincidences. The crazy thing about it, they would later take on a very sinister significance. So the day before the murders, the family's maid quit, claiming the house haunted. Her replacement was Maria Baumgartner, who arrived on the evening of March 31st, 1922. But little did she know, it would be her last night at Hinterkaifeck. This is where it gets really weird. So on April 4th, the Grubbers' neighbors grew concerned when no one had seen them for days. A neighbor into the property discovered a horrifying scene. Andreas, Kazilia Sr., Victoria, and Kazilia Jr. were found bludgeoned to death in the barn. Maria and the baby Joseph were murdered in the house. So you had the four who were found in the barn, but Mariah and the baby were found murdered in the house. The weapon of choice that was used here was a matlock, which is a farming tool. It's typically used to dig soil. Now here's where it even gets, I don't know, even crazier, is that the killer had apparently stayed on the property for several days after the murder. So let's put a S at the end of that. The livestock were fed, meals were prepared, and smoke was even seen rising from the chimney. But despite extensive investigations, no suspect was ever identified. So let's talk theories for a minute here. So, over the years, numerous suspects have been proposed, but none were actually definitely proven. One theory points to Lorenz, who was a neighbor who had a complicated relationship with the Grubbers. I guess it was in the 1922 times of a Karen, maybe. In this case, I guess it would be what is the male term for a Karen now? Is it a Tom? I don't know. But that was later dismissed. Like, he wasn't even a suspect anymore in this. Another theory involves a former maid who reportedly said she had dreams of the murders before they occurred. Did she have did she have a premonition? I mean, it was possible, maybe, or was it just plainly just guilt? Some even suggest that the murders were the work of a vagrant or a drifter who stumbled upon the farm. So already it's kind of weird. You had one maid who quit. You had a neighbor who didn't really like grubbers. Those were almost dismissed, I guess. He had four of the family members in the barn. He had two family members in the house. My question would be, why were four family members in the barn and only two in the house? The baby was in the house, which was a very interesting place for the. I mean, it's a common place for the baby to be. So what happened? Why were four family members in the barn? Were they taken outside to the barn, and the other two were left in? Were they tied up? What what was it? Very odd, very odd. So of course they wanted to connect something else to this, which happened to be a drifter, possibly, who stumbled upon the farm. Remember the footsteps leading to the house didn't lead away from the house. So that was one of the first suspicions that the family noticed. And then of course the keys missing as well as another, right? So the eerie events before the murders had led many to believe that Hinterkaifeck was just simply haunted. Could the footsteps in the attic and the missing keys be the work of a writless spirit? I don't know. Do spirits make noises in the attic? I don't know. So the paranormal investigators had suggested that the Grubber family might have been targeted by a malevolent entity. So a bad spirit, perhaps as retribution for their dark family history. Whoa. So, interestingly, some locals reported seeing shadowy figures near the property long after the murders. Those reports, though, I don't know, add an unsettling layer to an already terrifying mystery. In recent years, modern forensic techniques have been applied to Hinterkaifeck case. While some DNA evidence has been uncovered, it has led to it hasn't led to any breakthroughs. Historians and true crime enthusiasts continue to pore over the details, but key questions remain. Who? Who could commit such a brutal crime, then stay at the scene? Was this a random act of violence, or was the family just simply targeted? So you can dive into this just a little bit more. This was during some hardships, hard economic times. It's right after the war. So it had to have been pretty rough. So, what are the ties? Now, since incest was a possibility that happened between two family members, is it possible? Is it possible that the person that murdered this entire family was potentially a father of a young girl that found out what happened and went and murdered this whole family in Hinterkaifeck? Again, that's another possibility. Though I don't think they might have ever looked at that, but in my opinion, that would make sense. That there's some reason someone had to return in order to had to come there to do something to that family for a specific reason, and to keep the animals fed, to keep the house warm through the fireplace. They wanted to make it look like they were still there while they what planned an escape, planned to think of what they need to do to get out of there. I don't know. It's very weird. So there's so many years that it went by. So there's other videos about this very same topic and some other podcast about this same very topic. But now let me see your what do you think happened at Hinterkaifeck? You can give me whatever you think happened. You can leave it in the comment section. You can send me an email at freakonasponge@gmail.com and let me know. Could it have been a jealous lover, family vendetta, or something even darker, sinister, even something spiritual, um, something paranormal. So share your theories with us on this. You guys love to see some comments. I love seeing comments on these podcasts to kind of see your engagements and what you're truly thinking. Very interesting. But ultimately, I just got to say this. Thank you for joining us as we explored one of the history's most chilling mysteries, even though this is only a short podcast. It's not very long whatsoever. This is just the gist of the story. There's so much information out there about these murders and it might be solved by now, but based on the research that I found, there has been no proof. It's only theories. Very interesting. So the Hinterkaifeck murders remind us that some questions may never have answers, but the pursuit of truth is a journey worth taking. Until next time, which is going to be episode 3, got another interesting one for you. Go back to episode 1 take a listen to that one. Leave your comments there and leave your theories or suggestions there. So stay safe, stay curious, and always stay in the mystery.